Mel, we're seeing your desktop instead of the welcome screen. Okay.
Morning, everyone. Welcome. We'll be starting at 5 past just to give everyone else a chance to join. Okay, thank you. Welcome everyone to our medical device webinar. This is an industry meeting where we'll be having regulatory updates and process improvements. It will be a consultative meeting with industry, and will be the nature of the discussion will be that the presenters will speak and then the questions will come at the end. Just to quickly go through the rules of this webinar. If you can please display the rules, Melanie, thank you. So all participants will be muted during the presentation, and then if you have any questions during the presentation, we have a Q&A platform, and the team members will try to assist on that platform as well. And whatever has not been addressed sufficiently can be addressed after the presentation. So the duration of the webinar will be 2 hours, starting from 10 to 12. And just to quickly go through the speakers, we'll have, or the agenda, we'll have our welcoming remarks by Dr. Matibe, the senior manager, and updates on applicable fees, who the speaker will be Mr. Ompile Mukwena, and then payment of annual retention fees, also Mr. Ompile Mukwena, and then I will speak on renewal applications, including ISO 13485 certification requirements, um, and medical device vigilance would be touched on by Ritumeti Khatlane, and then we'll have a break. But if we are moving fast through the presentations, then maybe we may not need to. And then the last speaker will be Ms. Cleo Davids regarding port health. And then we'll have the Q&A session at the end. Just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Oneo Munyeleote, and I'm the Medicine Registration Officer under licensing for medical device. I would like to welcome Dr. Matibe to give us the welcome remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Onyaho. And good morning, colleagues. Thank you very much, firstly, for taking your time for joining this webinar, where we are giving you an update regarding the work that has been done or the work that's ongoing, and also give the industry opportunity to ask questions and also point of clarity, noting that we will not be able to answer, or we are not going to answer any company-specific questions. And we can do that via email separately. So as we need to protect the information that we have in our disposal. So if you have any questions that are your company specific, please ask them offline, or we'll not respond, and we'll ask you to please write an email pertaining to that. So as indicated, thank you very much for making your time. This is one of the industry engagement that we're doing. We still have some that will be engaging the industry on. And if you look at the agenda for today, you will see that the focus is from the medical device licensing unit. And later in the year, we'll also have another stakeholder engagement where we are looking at the medical device registration. So thank you very much, as I indicated, to my team as well for arranging the meeting, including our comms on their support. And I'm hoping that we will have a fruitful meeting, and we achieve the intention of our meeting to engage our stakeholders, as well as learn some of the issues and go back and work on some of the queries or questions that are posed or proposals that are posed by the industry. So thanks again. I'll hand over back to you, Onyaho, to continue with the proceedings of the meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Matibe. Dr. Zoe, if you can please display the presentation. As I mentioned, the first item on the agenda is the update on applicable fees, and our presenter will be Mr. Ompile Mukwena. You can take over, Ompile. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings, colleagues. As I've been introduced, I'm Umpile Mukwena, and I'm a medicine registration officer under licensing of medical devices, which also includes IVDs. Can we go to the next slide? So as my fellow colleague Onyaho has indicated, the content of our presentation is in this manner: update on applicable fees, which is done by myself. The renewal application and ISO 13485 certification requirement will be done by Onyaho. Management of medical devices by Ritumetse. Port health related queries will be presented by Onya Cleo. And then at the last slide, we have the contact details. If you can just go to the next slide. Thank you. The next one. Thank you very much. So with regards to the update on applicable fees, there are new fees which were published on the 12th of February 2025 as per the Government Gazette number 52106, and we just broke them down accordingly there. So an application for a new medical device and IVD establishment license in terms of section 22C subsection 1B. For license to manufacture medical devices, it's 26,200. A distributor license, 10,600. A license to wholesale medical devices, 15,600 rand. And then in terms of renewal, an application for a renewal of a medical device and IVD establishment license in terms of Section 22D of the Act. Remember, Section 22D talks about the period of validity and renewal of a license. So a license to manufacture, it's 22,900. Distributor one, 13,100. Wholesaler one, 13,100. In terms,
final product manufacturer side change.
sorry. So in terms of amendment, it's 5,500 rand. One can ask what constitutes an amendment, and my fellow colleague Cleo will also touch base on why most of the consignment are held at the portal. So it's 5,500 rand. So what constitutes an amendment? It's if, in instance, you're changing your business address, you're moving from Gauteng now to Northwest. That constitutes an amendment. In essence, you are making changes to your existing license. Therefore, you need to apply for an amendment. Or rather, maybe you are changing, your AR has resigned, you want to appoint a new one, you need to apply for an amendment. So also, as you know that as soon as an application is received from a site, we screen it, goes to evaluation, internal processes are being adhered to. At the end, we usually, applicants are very happy when they receive this one, which is the license notification letter, which clearly indicates that the license has been approved by the authority in terms of Section 22C, Section 22C, subsection 1B of the Act. So we clearly indicate that an amount of 3,500 needs to be paid. So in essence, what we're trying to say from here is that as soon as you receive that letter, it has the banking details. After making the payment, what we'll do, we'll just issue with the digital copies or electronic copies, and then we'll also make an arrangement when to collect your original, or rather a hard copy of your license, which is embossed. One of the regulatory requirement is the annual retention fees. So annual retention fees are paid on an annual basis. It doesn't necessarily mean when you have collected your license, you have a digital copy and a hard copy now. That's all. Remember, you have signed a declaration indicating that you will be compliant with the regulatory requirement as per the application form. So you need to pay your annual retention fees accordingly on time, and these are payable on or before the last working day of June every year. I'll also break down this further. Thank you. Yes, the next slide. Shut in. Thank you. So as SAHPRA, what we have done under the medical device unit, we've done tutorial videos to assist applicants on how to complete an application form for both manufacturers and distributors. So one can ask, how do I get hold or find these ones? When you just go to the SAHPRA landing page, you just go to the operational units, medical devices, forms. So you will see the 3 forms from there. And then when you scroll down, you will see the 3 videos. So just two of important use is that when sending a renewal, new application, or an amendment, you must make use of the latest updated forms. So if you're not using the latest updated forms, we are definitely going to send you an observation letter indicating that you must make use of the latest updated form. We understand that most of you have your some of the old forms on your desktop. There's nothing wrong with that, but when making the application, just make sure that you are using the latest updated form. Thank you. Moving to the next one. Thank you. Retention fees. The next one. Thank you. As I've indicated that when submitting an application, we have also declared that you will be compliant with the regulation and the Act. So if you go through Regulation 6, sub-regulation, Regulation 5, sub-regulation 6 of the regulation relating to medical devices and in vitro diagnostics, which are the IVDs, it clearly indicates that despite the period of validity of a license, the licensee must pay the annual retention fees for the continued registration as determined by the authority. In essence, as I've indicated, that annual retention fees are paid on an annual basis. Let's say, for instance, your license was approved in 2024. You are liable to pay your annual retention fees for 2025. Our finance unit will be issuing invoice the very same on the next year, which is 2025 in May. So if you haven't received any invoice, you can just request it from our finance unit, but I'll also show you the pop-up message that we have sent to applicants. So failure to adhere to this regulation, as per regulation 8E of the regulations regarding fees payable in terms of the provisions of the Medicines and Related Substance Act, which is Act 1 of 1965, the authority may revoke the license issued in terms of section 22C, subsection 1B of the Act due to non-payment of the prescribed annual retention fees. So what does the unit we have done? We have sent reminders to organizations that have not yet paid their annual retention fees. We have made a pop-up on our website, on our landing page, which I will just show in due course. We also have done follow-ups, and all the media platforms, we made sure that thanks to the communication team, which is in here, that they've assisted us in making sure that we send the message on all the social media platforms so that colleagues, stakeholders can be informed about the importance of paying annual retention fees on time. The next slide. Thank you. This is the pop-up message that we have on our SAHPRA landing page. Don't just close it. We'll appreciate if stakeholders can just go through it. So we have indicated that this is a reminder that invoices for 2025 retention fees for medical device establishment license have been issued, and proof of payment must be sent to MD notifications at sahpra.org.za. In essence, even if you've made payment, what you need to do, you need to send the proof of payment to MD notifications at sahpra.org.za. So those who have not done so, please, as in now, please just forward the proof of payments to this email address. This is applicable to organizations that have not yet submitted their proof of payments. If it happens that you have not received your invoice, please request it from finance@sahpra.org.za. Thanks a lot. My fellow colleague Onyaho will take over from here.
Thank you, Ompile. Hopefully, we will, after hearing about the update on the application fees or applicable fees, we will be going forward and sending applications with the correct fees as gazetted, and those that have received the annual retention fees reminders, or those that have been paid will adhere accordingly to the requirements. I'll be speaking on renewal applications, and additional to that, I will be just giving clarity on the ISO 13485 certification requirements, also for applicants that are intending to renew their medical device establishment license. So for renewal, in terms of Regulation 6, subsection 3C of the medical device regulations, the application for a renewal of a license needs to be made 90 days before it expires. And we do not accept any late applications. If it happens that we have received the application outside of the timeline that has been indicated, our senior admin officer does communicate with the applicant on the process to follow should their application for renewal be rejected. We have updated the position paper regarding the renewal process. The name of the paper, or the ID, is MD06 2025-2026. It was published in June, and also our frequently asked question guideline does have a renewal section just to provide clarity on the general questions that applicants may have before they submit a renewal. We also updated the requirements wherein the latest application form, the latest version of the application form as communicated by Ompile needs to be provided. And also the requirement is that companies that are renewing their license needs to now provide us with an ISO 13485 certificate that is issued by a conformity assessment body that is recognized by SAHPRA. And then also the details on the application form must be the same as the information on the license. This is the to indicate that no changes that are reflected, no changes that affect the license are reflected on the application form. If there's any changes, then the applicant is advised to submit a renewal first, and thereafter, when they've been issued a license, then proceed with an amendment. If there's any queries regarding the renewal, we do send an observation letter, and the expectations is that the response from the applicant is according to what has been communicated within 48 working hours, unless if they communicate that they would require an extension. And our observation letter may include, but is not limited to, information provided on the application forms, GMDN codes. We have communicated that before submission, applicants needs to visit the GMDN website just to check that none of their codes are obsolete and they are still valid. And also, if there's any changes that are not permitted for a renewal, then we will communicate with the applicants to revert the changes back to what has been reflected on the license. We also expect timeous response, so as to avoid the license expiring during processes or during processing. And then our application process timeline takes a maximum of 8 weeks. Next slide, please. Thank you. To speak on the ISO 13485 certification requirement, the background is that the standard is for medical device quality management systems, and it provides a framework for manufacturers and distributors or importers involved in trading medical device and IVDs to address their quality management system relating to medical devices in a harmonized manner. We published a position paper issued on the 7th of April 2025. The document number is MD01 2025-2026, and we did consider on the position paper, we implemented a phased approach, and there were considerations for the industry regarding this method of implementation, wherein financial implications for license holders and the number of conformity bodies or assessment bodies that are available, and also the timelines that it takes for certification of the QMS. So to consider the timelines, we also request that if the company does not have the ISO certification as yet, they can provide us with documentary proof. I've indicated below that the documentary proof means the communication in a form of a letter or a contract or an interim audit report that is issued by the conformity assessment body, indicating the commitment of the license holder to acquire accreditation. And that license holder must provide us with the certificate once it has been issued by the conformity assessment bodies. So currently we are on phase 2, which took effect on the 1st of June 2025. And it's companies that are renewing their licenses to include the certification to the quality management system or documentary proof as indicated. Next slide, please. Am I audible? Can I please see the next slide? Thank you. Okay, so just to give industry an update as to what has happened since the implementation of phase 2 from the 1st of June 2025. We have over 2,500 active medical device establishment licenses, and plus or minus 80% of those are manufacturers and distributors. And we anticipate approximately 300 renewals annually. And as it stands, we have processed a total of, let me say finalized, a total of 30 renewals. And this may be due to the reasons below, that some companies may not be renewing, or some may be submitting their renewals late. where the requirement will not be applicable to submit the certification with the new application. So we have currently received and captured a total of 143 certificates, and this is through voluntary submissions and also renewal submissions, as I've mentioned. And this has been a positive indicator to the regulator that the industry is complying. And from the 143, 80 are manufacturers and 35 are distributors and 28 are wholesaler. Although the requirement is not applicable to wholesaler, we have seen that some of the wholesalers have provided certification, and it is important to note that the site master file for wholesalers also is under review and will be published in due time. So currently, we have 15 establishments that shared documentary proof of intention to acquire the accreditation, and and from the initial position paper which was issued, the revised position paper, which will now include the effective timelines for phase 3 to phase 5, is currently undergoing the approval process to be published. Next slide, please. Okay, just to summarize the effective timelines for the other phases. For phase 1, as we have indicated, phase 1 was our initiative to sort of sensitize the industry. So on the 24th of February 2017, there was a requirement issued for applicants who are submitting an application for Section 22C1B license to provide acceptable documentary proof of certification to a quality management system for medical device and IVDs. And then on in 2022 January, the amendment to the timeline was published in a position paper MD030. And in 2022, in September, a renewal communication was published, which is MD031 for license holders to provide the certification by the 1st of April 2025. And in 2024, November, we had a stakeholder engagement where we communicated the implementation of the phased approach based on the reasons that I indicated on the previous slide. So as I mentioned, currently we are on phase 2, which was effective on the 1st of June 2025. This is for manufacturers, distributors, or importers submitting a renewal to provide us with the certificate. Should those applicants not provide us with the certification, their applications will not be processed, just to put that forward. And then phase 3, which is companies that are already in possession of the certificate. It is important to note that we have already received voluntary submissions, but this will be applicable to those that have not provided the certification to the regulator as yet. We intend for phase 3 to become effective on the 1st of April 2026. We'll communicate with directly to the license holders and through our platforms to just as a reminder for those that already have the certificate to provide us with the information for the purpose of verification. And we intend for phase 4 to begin on the 1st of June 2027, which will affect amendments, applications, and those submitting a notification to update their product list. And for all applications, that means anyone that is submitting an application to manufacture or distribute medical devices, which is referred to as an importer license. On phase 5, which is anticipated to begin on the 1st of April 2025, all applicants will be required to provide us with the ISO 13485 certificate. Next slide, please. The next speaker will be Ms. Ritumetse Khatlane, and she'll be speaking on behalf of Medical Device Vigilance. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ritumetse Khatlane, and I'll be speaking on the management of medical device vigilance. As we know, vigilance is the continuous monitoring of a medical device in terms of its safety, efficacy, as well as performance. So Regulation 17 of the Medical Device Regulation states that an authorized representative or holder certificate of registration in terms of a medical device or IVD must inform the council in a manner within the timeframe determined by the council of a suspected adverse event reported to him or her occurring as a result of the use of the medical device or IVD. And this authorized representative or holder of certificate of registration referred to in sub-regulation 1 must, within the time frame determined by the council, inform the council of the steps taken to address the adverse event. Then we have sub-regulation 4, which indicates that despite sub-regulation 1 and 3, a user who becomes aware of the adverse event caused or suspected of being caused by a medical device or IVD during the process of using or conducting post-marketing surveillance must report the event either to the licensee, holder of certificate of registration, the manufacturer, and or the authorized representative or the council. Next slide, please. So therefore, the medical device unit has then published two guidelines and one adverse event reporting form in order to assist license holders, authorized representative to comply with the medical device regulations. So the first guideline is the guideline number 3, which was previously Guideline 8.04, which is the guideline for medical device adverse event reporting. And this assists with the interpretation of the adverse event reporting requirements. It also provides guidance in terms of what is a reportable adverse event and definitions or terms which are used in adverse event reporting and when do the exemption rules apply. It also includes information in terms of the timelines as to when you're expected to submit that adverse event report, as well as the types of adverse event reports that can be submitted, as well as where and how to submit the adverse events reports. Then we have guideline number 11, which is the guideline for completing the medical device adverse event reporting form, which basically assists the reporter on how to complete the adverse event reporting form. And then we have the adverse event reporting form itself, which is GLFMD 11A, and this is what is used for submission of adverse events reports to SAHPRA. Next slide, please. So this is what the adverse event reporting form looks like. As indicated, there are 3 types of reports that can be submitted, which could either be the initial follow-up or final report. So depending on the information that the reporter may have at the time, they complete this form as much as possible in terms of whatever information that they have at that point in time. Next slide, please. And then this adverse event reporting form also looks into the suspected medical device in terms of the information that you have whenever the adverse event report is first reported to yourself as a license holder or an authorized representative. Then it also contains a section which includes the manufacturer's investigation in terms of after you've received the adverse event report, what results do you have after analyzing the adverse event report? Next slide, please. So we also have timelines as indicated in the regulations that you're required to submit the adverse event report within certain timelines. So if the adverse event has resulted in a serious threat to public health or represents a serious threat to public health, you have to report this within 48 hours of being aware of this adverse event. And if it has led to a death or serious deterioration in the state of health of a patient or user, then you have to report this adverse event within 10 calendar days. And if it might lead to death or serious deterioration of the state of health of a patient or user of the device, then this must be reported within 30 days. Next slide, please. When it comes to the management of medical device vigilance, all adverse events reports are to be submitted via email using that adverse event reporting form to mdvigilance@sahpra.org.za. And if you're unsure of whether or not to submit a report to SAHPRA, you can refer to the decision tree and the reporting exemption rules, which are on the guideline, which is the guideline for medical device adverse event reporting, in order to assist you to make a decision as to whether or not you need to report the adverse event. And depending on the adverse event analysis, a field safety corrective action, meaning a device modification or recall, which is the removal of the device from the market, may be instituted. And then we have the field safety corrective actions guideline, which is currently undergoing internal review, and then will be published for public comment at the end of Q4, and will provide guidance on the submission format as well as the requirements for field safety corrective actions. For now, field safety corrective actions can be submitted via email to mdvigilance@sapra.org.za, and you copy the recalls at sapra.org.za. And for recalls, these are to be submitted via email to recalls@sapra.org.za.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Clearline Davids, and today I'll be speaking on port health. So, for importation of medical devices and IVDs into the Republic, a person must import a medical device or IVD into the Republic through one of the following ports of entry, either Cape Town International Airport or Harbour, Port Elizabeth Airport or Harbour, King Shaka International Airport or Durban Harbour, or OR Tambo International Airport. And this is taken directly from our regulations for regarding medical devices and IVDs. Used medical devices, IVDs, may be imported by a manufacturer for purposes of service repair, refurbishing, or maintenance. And a person may only import a medical device if that person is licensed in terms of Section 22C1B of the Medicines Related Substances Act to import a medical device. Medical device establishment licenses that authorizes establishments to import are either manufacturing medical device establishment licenses or distribution medical device establishment licenses. Wholesaling licenses do not authorize you to import a medical device. Next slide, please. Okay, and there are, just so to guide everyone through, give them a view of the process at port. There are 3 parties that have jurisdiction over consignment at the port of entry regarding medical devices. We have the customs or SARS part, there's the Department of Health, and then there's us, the regulator, SAHPRA. And there are 2 subunits who manage the review process of a consignment for SAHPRA. Those subunits is the Regulatory Compliance Unit and then the Medical Devices Unit. Therefore, consignment may be detained from either of these parties for any reason. There might be anything from either party that may hinder the consignment. So when a consignment is detained for SAHPRA, the shipping documents are reviewed, and when necessary, the consignment is inspected. And then the medical device unit reviews the shipping documentation against the medical device establishment license and the latest product listing, if applicable. That's why it's so important for license holders to ensure that the authority has the latest information at all times. The consignment may be referred to other units within the organization should additional authorization be required. So this would be if there's an additional authorization for a donation or personal use of a device that's being imported, or if there's a particular medical device that needs to go for evaluation, perhaps it may not fall under medical devices, perhaps it has medicinal claims. So those are just some examples as to why it might be referred. And the medical device unit normally communicates the recommendation to the regulatory compliance unit to assist with the release process once everything is finalized from the medical devices unit. Next slide, please. This is just a visual overview of the process. So first, your consignment is first reviewed by the Regulatory Compliance Unit, and they make the requests for more information if necessary, and if necessary it will be referred to us in the Medical Devices Unit, where, as I said, we review your documentation according to what we have on record, the latest information that we have on record, and if necessary we refer it to other units. And once everything is finalized from the Medical Devices Unit, we refer it back to the Regulatory Compliance Unit, where they assist with the release process. And the release process could include a destruction process depending on whatever is recommended from medical devices, or the return of the consignment depending on various reasons. Next slide. So general issues that we have come across at the Port of Health within the unit is the consignment is normally detained due to address discrepancies on the license and shipping documents. This normally happens when applicants register for the customs documentation, perhaps with a physical address, while they're in the process of getting a medical device license, and then only during the process of getting their license they have a they license a registered warehouse or whatever the case may be. So when they are importing, they use their physical address rather than the business address. And this normally is one of the main reasons that we've seen so far that hinders a consignment. Therefore, we always ask that your information on your shipping documentation, import documentation, emulates that of your medical device license, because that is the authorized document for your import. Okay, other issues is just the understanding of the requirements by the importer on when an exemption is applicable. Please be made aware that there is communication of the exemption for medical device, Class A medical devices, sorry, that are non-sterile and non-measuring. So that what that means is you don't necessarily need a license at this point, but it's only applicable for a certain time frame. As I said, you're more than welcome to download the exemption and read through it. And then another general issue is product risk classification discrepancies, where the importer may incorrectly classify the medical device, and they are not authorized to import that particular device against their license. So for example, if the importer is only authorized to import class A and B, and they are now importing a class C, their consignment will be detained and they would need to apply for an amendment to their license so that they can retrieve their products. And if there are any queries regarding port detention or anything regarding port health for medical devices, you're more than welcome to contact us on the email address displayed, which is mdporthealth@sahpra.org.za. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'll now be going through just a few general frequently asked questions regarding port health. So this particular definition of what a medical device is taken directly from our Act. So a medical device is any instrument or apparatus, implement, machine, appliance, implant, reagent, or in vitro use software, material, or any other similar related article, including Group 3 and 4 hazardous substances contemplated by the Hazardous Substances Act. And these products have to be intended for by the manufacturer to be used alone or in combination for humans or animals for one or more of the following, and they are listed there. I'm not going to read through all of them. And if it does not achieve its primary intended action by pharmacological or immunological or metabolic means in the human body, in the human or animal body, but which may be assisted in its intended use or function by such means. So if your product matches the criteria listed in this definition, then it is a medical device. If not, then it most likely could be a borderline product, and you can always consult the unit and we can help you decipher where it falls. Next slide, please. So what is a medical device establishment? So a medical device or IVD establishment means a facility used by a manufacturer, wholesaler, distributor, retailer, service provider, or an importer of a medical device or IVD for conducting business. So that is why when you are issued with a medical device establishment license, you are issued according to the activity that you perform at your establishment. Next slide, please. Okay, so when is an amendment applicable? I touched on this generally with our general queries, but Regulation 10 states that a holder of a certificate of registration may submit to the registrar an application on a form as determined by the council to amend an entry made in the medical devices or IVDs register with regard to a particular medical device or IVD. So therefore, an amendment is where any changes on an is where any changes that an applicant wishes to update will reflect the details of the issued license. So anything that on your current approved license that you wish to change would warrant an amendment. An example of examples of this would be change of the company establishment or entity name where the company registration remains the same, change of the address or addresses that could be of the communications, storage, business addresses, change of key personnel details. This means the telephone number, cell phone number, email addresses of license holder authorized representatives, the additional removal of activities indicated on the license, especially applicable to manufacturers because there are many activities listed on their license, addition of other risk classes on the product list where the license holder is not approved. As I said previously, if you are authorized to import class A and B and you now want to import a class C, that would warrant an amendment. And any other updates arising from incorrect information submitted to the authority, which is indicated on the issued license. And this is normally identified when your product is detained at the port of entry and it comes to the unit and we find it through our investigation or review of the documents. We then revert the information back to you that you need an amendment to correct any incorrect information. The amendment process takes anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks to finalize as a normal application, and the consignment is only released when the port health technicians are furnished with an updated license. Next slide, please. Okay, and another question that's always asked is how can I ensure that my consignment is not detained? Unfortunately, you cannot always ensure that your consignment is not detained because SAHPRA is not the only body who evaluates the port of entry. As mentioned previously, there are 3 parties who have jurisdiction over consignment. So it's not always avoidable. However, if your consignment is detained at port, from SAHPRA's perspective, what I can recommend is that the information on the consignment documentation should emulate that of the medical devices establishment license. And that if there are any necessary changes that you would like the authority to be made aware of that doesn't warrant an amendment, you can submit a notification to the authority so that we have the updated information at all times. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, and other reasons for the import of medical devices are displayed. So these it's not a limited list, but these particular reasons for importing medical device also require special authorization from our medical device registrations unit. So things like this would include donation if a country wants to donate to our public hospitals, or if manufacturing companies want to import a medical device for research use to see, how they may improve their products, or if there's an exhibition or appraisal of medical devices in a country, if you want to import for sampling purposes, or even if you're a layman who wants to just import something, a medical device that you've purchased from an online store and for personal use. So those particular examples would need special authorization from the authority, but the review process is the same. The consignment will be detained, the medical device unit will review it, and that's when it will be referred to our subunit for additional authentication or not. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, we will now go through our contact details. Thank you.
Thanks, Cleo. And thank you, Ritumezi, for updating us on medical device vigilance. It seems that we are ahead of time, which is a positive note. We can allocate more time probably on the Q&A. Regarding medical device vigilance, it's important for our applicants or our license holder to make use of the recently published reporting form, which was made effective on the 1st of June 2025. And also for Port Health, it is important to consult so that the shipment is not detained and there's the license holder, the importer, incurs fees due to unforeseen circumstances. On the contact details, for general queries, we encourage our uh, uh, in, license holders or whoever may have a query to contact MD inquiries at sahpra.org.za. For applications, our senior admin officer is Ms. June Ciarella, and her email address is displayed. And we have our admin screeners, namely Leslie Ho and Nopi Mufukeng, and their email addresses also are displayed. If you have any queries regarding your application that was screened by either of them, you can contact them. And then if you have other queries for license applications, they are sent to mdadmin@sahpra.org.za. And if you also need to follow up on an application that you sent, you can follow up on the same email. And for retention fees, you can contact mdnotifications@sahpra.org.za. And if you need an invoice, as colleagues have spoken to this, you can contact finance@sahpra.org.za. And if you need to claim a refund and you have made an overpayment to the organization, you need to refer to our payment guideline that is on the SAHPRA website. If you go to our website, you'll see at the bottom banner, there's a starred document that is written payment guideline. The refund process is on the last page. And for our technical team, under licensing, you have myself. My email address is displayed, is onea@sahpra.org.za, and we have Ompile Mukwena. The email is ompilemukwena@sahpra.org.za. Next slide, please. And then our technical officer responsible for compliance and port queries, it's Cleo Davids at sahpra.org.za. You can also CC or contact MD port queries. It's MD port queries as well, that the email that was displayed earlier, in order to get a resolution for your consignments. And then the technical officers that are responsible for vigilance, we have Ritumetsi Khatlane. The email is displayed, ritumetsi@sahpra.org.za, and you can also contact MD Vigilance at sahpra.org.za. And then the details of our senior manager also displayed, and the office assistant to the senior manager as well. Additionally, to get the details of our team, you can go to the key contacts on the SAHPRA website. On the landing page or on the main homepage, towards the top right, you'll see contact us, and then on the drop down there's key contacts, and if you scroll down, you'll go through to the medical device unit. I think we have come to the end of the presentation. If you can present the next slide. Yes, the colleagues have answered some of the questions, but for those that were not sufficiently answered, we can now allow the attendees to pose their questions. Thank you.
Anea, if you can just keep an eye out. Sorry, how is Robin? If you can just keep an eye on the hands, Anea, and then just take them by order. Thanks.
Thanks, Ntokozo. We'll start with you, Robin. You can come through. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. I just wanted to know, I think you've answered my question if we're allowed to have verbal questions. One of the questions I'd like to ask is the licensing application forms. I see on the website there are there's a new version which was published this year. Is there a couple of things? Is there a way to notify industry of new versions? And also, if we can have a platform to workshop the details on the application forms, there are some technical glitches with it. And also because in previous versions, the drop-down boxes for classifications included RUOs. Then for a period of time, they excluded RUOs, and now they include RUOs. So we just want clarification on how we can manage newer versions of the application form and recognize the previous RUOs that have now been dropped, but since are now allowable. A bit of a complex question. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Robin. Yes, we do inform industry when we have made updates. It's mainly through our website. If you go to the medical device landing page, if there's an update, there's mostly a pop-up message that we display. We do encourage that visitors of our landing page do look at that, and then on the on LinkedIn as well, we do notify industry, and also our comms does send out an email to those that have subscribed to the newsletters. Regarding the nature of the application form or the format, it is logged for formatting. However, we have also included videos after publishing the version. We included videos on how to complete, and regarding the research use only products, the classification is there, or the designation for RUO is there, but on the IVD section. But if you have any further queries regarding the application form, you can contact myself and Ompile, and we'll look through your query and advise accordingly. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question. Amina, you may come through.
Good morning. Thank you. Okay, my question's a two-parter. I think you answered the first one, but I just wanted clarification. If an applicant needs to update their license to add more classes, and we are in the process of getting accreditation, we can share a letter and proof of progress of accreditation in order to get that application approved. That's the first part. And the second part, I think it's also more for my clarification. If I have a warehouse that just does storage and distribution, is it a requirement that that warehouse also has ISO 13485 certification?
Thank you. Just to answer your first question, the current requirement is for renewals, applicants who are renewing their license to provide the certificate or a documentary proof. However, for all the other types of application, the submission is voluntary. We do encourage that you submit if you already have that in place. So that's to answer your first question. And warehouse, I'm not sure what the activities that are being performed on at the site are, but a warehouse would be regarded, based on the activities and based on the definitions on our regulations, would be regarded as a wholesaler, or would require a wholesaler license. And in that sense, the ISO 13485 certification is currently not required for wholesalers. And we are currently reviewing the site master file requirements, which was recently published for public comment, to sort of establish what is required of a wholesale of medical devices. I hope I've answered your question. I will now take Nadia to pose the question. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the presentation. First of all, I also have two questions. First of all, with regards to the provision of an ISO certificate from the 1st of April 2028 for all applications, I just want to know how it is going to work for new applications, because you can't really submit an ISO certificate if you don't provide evidence to the conformity assessment body that you have implemented a quality management system. And without a license, you can't really operate and provide that evidence. So I just want to know, is there going to be a certain timeline for new applications, a leeway to gather the evidence and eventually get certified? And then my second question was just on something that Cleo mentioned regarding the non-sterile, non-measuring Class A medical devices, where it is not necessary for a license. As far as I know, there was a government gazette published on the 12th of February this year, revoking that exemption, now stating that all manufacturers, wholesalers, and distributors of non-sterile and non-measuring Class A medical devices also needs to be licensed. So if I can just get clarification on that as well, please.
Thanks, Nadia. I'll take your first question and Cleo will come through on your second question. I think I'm going to repeat myself. So the current requirement for applicant to provide an ISO 13485 certificate is for those that are renewing their license. They have been in the business for quite a while, and some of them were existing when the amendment to the implementation timelines was published. So new applicants, according to the presentation that our communication will share and the revised position paper that will be published, are currently not required to share proof of certification to ISO 13485. However, if they do have a certification in place, we do encourage that they share for the purpose of verification and capturing by the authority. Cleo, thank you.
One, if I may come and support as well on the answer, Stimakat.
Yes,
So
Dr. D, thank you.
To support on that answer is that the intention to, as you have indicated, that an intention letter to have an ISO, we will communicate that in 2028 will be sufficient or may be sufficient as well. So that will also assist us, and then we'll give you a conditional license with the timelines as well. Thanks. Leo, you may come in.
Yes, thank you, Dr. D. Okay, so the communication that was published on the 12th of February 2025, if I may just read it, I think it's just a case of just understanding what they mean by this. So no, it's not a revocation of this exemption, but actually, if you see it as such an extension. So the exemption of manufacturers, wholesalers, and distributors of Class A medical devices and in vitro diagnostics from the operation of the provisions of Section 22C1 of the Medicines and Related Substances Act 1965. The Minister of Health has, in terms of section, so initially this was the first statement, and it was then repealed in the second one. So the first statement said that the Minister of Health has, in terms of Section 36 of the Medicines and Related Substances Act of 1965, and in consideration with the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority, the SAHPRA, that establishments which require a medical device or in vitro diagnostics establishment licenses in terms of Section 22C of the Act, for only Class A medical devices, including IVDs, which do not have a measuring property or characteristics and are non-sterile, are exempted for the period of 3 years to possess an establishment license. So the appeal to that was the exemption of manufacturers, wholesalers, and distributors of Class A medical and in medical devices and in vitro diagnostics from operation from the provisions of 22C of the Medicines Related to Substances Act, as published under the Government Notice 4406 of 23 February 2024 is repealed. So this means then that it still stands, and we the exemption is applicable for a period of 3 years. So from currently from when this was signed for another 3 years. I hope that answers your question, but the exemption still stands for non-sterile and non-measuring devices. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cleo. The next speaker will be Mazileng Mabaire. I hope I pronounced your details correctly. You may come through. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for that. You did. Thank you. You did pronounce my details correctly. I got two questions regarding changes we may receive from the OEM. When we have a change, or rather a notification of an OEM to change the name, for instance, like the business has taken some products to a different entity, but if we've listed a product under a particular entity, what is the license holder supposed to do in a case like that in terms of informing of the amendments? The product is still the same product, however, but now the OEM is a different OEM based on the changes with the OEM, whether they sell products to another OEM. And we are already selling the product and it's listed. So I want to find out, in cases like that, how do we handle such amendments? And then the second one would be more on the packaging. Let's say on the OEM, the manufacturer is the one who we've listed as the manufacturer, and they've got their details on the product. However, they do put the brand of the license holder with SAHPRA. In cases like that, is that still okay to keep the branding of the license holder, but the details of the manufacturer, the address of the manufacturer stated as the manufacturer there as well? Those are my two questions.
Yeah, so can I come in and support on that?
Yes, Dr. D.
I will advise Mazileng to please look at your amendment guidelines. So the amendment guidelines at the current moment clearly indicates that if the change affects the current license, any changes that's affecting the current license, then you have to do an amendment. And in case it's not affecting the license, then you do a formal notification. Then we'll respond to you. I'm not too sure if the team has indicated that we'll be publishing communication regarding amendments and guidelines soon. But we do have a document that speaks to both. We're just separating them so that it's clear and people don't get lost. So if the amendment that you are referring to or that you have and you look at your license is not affected, then it's a notification. Thanks. So it's answer both your questions. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Makato.
Thank you. Back to you, Una.
Thank you. You can also have a look at the frequently asked questions guideline that we have recently published. It does speak to what constitutes an amendment and what constitutes a notification. I'll take the next speaker, which is JP Stason. You may come through. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I just have one question. With the application form, when we want to add more products on our application form for non-IVD MD import into South Africa, I know the file is protected, and the thing is we want to add more products, but it's not allowing us to add more products. Is there a way that we can have this file to be protected to assist us to add more products?
If I may answer you, the file is not protected to prohibit you from inputting information, but it's protected to prohibit you to format. And this is to sort of allow that the process or the applicant that is submitted to us it's in the same format, because we do receive applications where in changes have been made or other information that we did not publish on our application form, is now inputted on the form, which becomes sort of difficult to work with. So if you're having any issues with the application form, you can contact myself or Ompile or any of the senior admin officer or any of the technical colleagues, and we'll be able to assist. However, it is at its current state not prohibiting anyone to input new products or list anything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, you may come through.
Thank you very much. I have two questions, but they're related to one another. The first is a hospital which does not have a medical device establishment license allowed to import a medical device? That's my first question. My second question relates to drop shipments, where a licensed medical device establishment purchases product from an international supplier for direct shipment to their end customer. Is that permitted? And if it is, are there any special arrangements that need to be made? Thank you.
If I may
yes,
come
Mark.
in.
Okay, Dr. D, you can come
Yeah,
in.
and I'll allow you. I think the drop shipment was answered, Mark, but if Cleo wants to reiterate it, it's fine. But we have answered you on that one. So the first question I want to ask you is, how do we allow the hospital to import the medical device as what? What will be their function? They import it as what?
That would be the user.
So they import it as a user. So what do you mean by the hospital? Are they the importer of medical devices to be used?
My question is whether a hospital which is licensed as a hospital, not as an importer, whether that hospital is permitted to purchase product, medical devices for their use in their hospital from international suppliers directly.
Yeah, so my question to you again is, under Section 22C of the Act, what do we refer them to? Because if it's a hospital, there is also post-marketing surveillance that needs to be looked after, isn't it? So who is responsible for post-marketing of that product that is brought into the country? Is it the hospital?
So I think what you're saying to me is that the answer is no.
No, I didn't say that, Mark. I was asking you a question so that we can have point of clarity, so that it's a benefit of everyone that's on the call.
Well, if a hospital purchases something on the international market, then there is no medical device company that's involved at all. And so therefore they would be responsible for that product and their use of that product themselves under their hospital license.
Okay, thanks. So then we look at the definition of cell in the Act as well as Section 22C. So then there will have to be one of those establishments and they will have to apply for that. Thanks.
And just for clarity, my question on drop shipments has not been answered.
Okay, I'll come in. Good morning, Mark. Thank you for your question. And yes, as Dr. D said, so if you look at our Act, as I said, so I'll just take it back quickly just for everybody. So if your product falls within the description of a medical device, then it is a medical device. And if you, as an entity, want to import, export, distribute, wholesale, or manufacture said product, according to Section 22C of our Act, you are warranted to have a license. So if I understand you are your question about the drop shipment, Mark, you are coming in as a third party, purchasing through a license holder the product, and then want to drop it off at the end user, bypassing the license holder. Unfortunately, if you are not licensed to import, export, distribute, wholesale, or manufacture that product, that is not permissible. I have mentioned in my slides, you can just have a look again. I don't know if you've missed that. There are special cases that requires additional authorization, which the unit then grants the importer. But those are listed in the presentation, such as the donation, sampling, appraisals, personal use, and so on. Okay, so I hope I answered your question, but yes, please refer to our Act for a complete explanation on these things. So that is the definition of a medical device and section 22C. Thank you.
Thanks. Now, if I might come in as well, and I think Leo, you have mentioned it. When we are looking at the drop shipment, we must not only look at SAHPRA, because we also have SARS that also have requirements regarding the shipment that is brought. So the person that's bringing that must ensure they comply to all the requirements as stated by various regulators. Thanks. Thanks, Une. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Dimagazo and Cleo. I will give the opportunity to Tina to ask his or her question. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much. My name is Tina. I just wanted to find out, in terms of new application, I'm sorry if you covered this, but when I came in, we were just talking about renewals. In terms of new application, I understand that we need to pay the license fee of 15,500, and that's just for an application. So my question is, if your application is declined for whatever reason, and I would also like to know maybe the possible reasons why it would be, do I need to pay that 15,500 again to apply? That's my first question. And secondly, we're finding that some hospitals are still requiring a license, even for things that are non-sterile. Sometimes it went up to even stationary. They would ask for a SAHPRA certificate. If we encounter something like that, what is the process to follow? Because you would phone a hospital and say, but this is not SAHPRA. It doesn't need to be, they don't need to ask for a SAHPRA certificate, but then that would be what they're asking. So the question would be then, what do we do in a process like that? Do we maybe follow a certain process with SAHPRA, or what can we do? Thank you.
Thank you, Tina.
Can I come on
yes,
the
you may
second
come
one?
through, Dr. D. Thanks.
Yeah. So on the second one, SAHPRA is not involved in supply chain. The client, your client, might request any requirements, and we have published the document on medical device, the exemption. You can share with them, but we are not in a business, or we are not mandated on the supply chain on what is it that they can require. It's the same with the tenders, whereby we are asked to come and comment. We can't comment. The client will put their requirements ahead, and we have published a document which is an exemption that can be used by the proposed applicant and speak to their proposed client. So we are not getting involved in supply chain. That's the first part. And the first question on the service that's rendered about the 15,000, we would have provided a service. We would have communicated if there is any observation that the team has picked up. They would have communicated with the applicant a number of times before they close the application. They would have written an observation, followed up on your observation a number of times. It's usually a period of more than let's say 80 days of us following up with you with the person, let me say applicant, with the applicant to respond. So we would have provided a service as a unit regarding the application. Then when you want to apply, you have to pay the money again, so we can render the service again. Thanks. Over to you, Onaho.
Thank you, Dr. D. Just to add on to that, you can refer to section 22E, subsection 3 of the Act, that states that no person is entitled to repayment of any prescribed fee in respect of any application if such application has been refused. I hope you are answered. I see your hand is still up. Is there a follow-up question?
No, sorry. That was the first hand.
Thank you, Tina. The next one is Sin Gita. You may come through. Thanks.
Hi. Hey, Dr. D. So my question relates to devices that are used to deliver a medicine, and I'm just using this as an example. So there's an innovative product, and the device that's needed is not actually in the country. The company that manufactures the device is in the country but has not listed it and will not do so, perhaps because there's just too few patients that would be on this product. So can the authorized rep be a different company? And then a follow-up question to that is, when the regulations for registration of devices come in play, who would then be responsible for submitting the dossier for registration? So that's my two questions. Thank you.
I'll try and engage the second one. I'm being honest. I didn't hear the first one and the second. I'm not clear. If you may please clarify both of your questions.
Yeah.
Maybe let's start. Yeah. Yes, please.
Sure. So the first question relates to medical devices that are not listed in South Africa, but is needed to deliver an innovative medicine to maybe like 4 or 5 patients. The company that makes that specific device is in the country, in South Africa, but they will not list it because there's just too few patients for them to bring that in. They will allow other companies to list it. So my question is is it possible then to have a different authorized rep to bring in that product, to import that product? And then the follow-up question is, when the regulations become finalized for registration of devices, that device that has been listed by a different authorized rep from the actual manufacturer who's in the country, will that registration fall on the authorized rep, or can then the company manage that? And I'm wary of the confidentiality of dossiers, and maybe the company wants to manage that piece. So I don't know if we can take it offline, Dr. D, if you want. Happy to engage.
Yes, let's do that, because I would like to unpack the dual process that you're talking about, that somebody else is bringing the product and the product is already, at the current moment, we have not started doing product registration. So, but I'm quite concerned about the product not listed, because this is affecting post-marketing surveillance. In case there is an issue with the product and the hospital is indicating that this product, let's say they report an adverse events to us, then that will be an issue for that company that is actually doing that, because then we will engage them. So I think let's take this offline.
Let's take it offline. And maybe just to add before I go off, the product is not in the country at all. So not listed,
okay.
But we'll take it offline. I'm happy to engage. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Dr. D.
Thanks, Gita. Over to you, Ona.
Thank you. I will take Claudia to come with the next question.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good morning, Dr. D. So my question is very similar to Gita's question. My question is around, if there is a medical device that we would like to bring into the country, it belongs to another company. However, the company does not have an office in South Africa. Would we be allowed to list it on our license in order to bring it in? And then once again, who would then become responsible so that the device does not belong to us? So who would then be responsible, or who would be the applicant, if I can say it that way, once registration becomes mandatory, and also with regards to the pharmacovigilance?
The local organization, which is the local representative, will be the one responsible for vigilance as well as for registration. That will be between there will be a DOA, or I believe, between the original manufacturer, and the local representative. Our point of contact will be the local representative. But in some cases, other OEM do not want to share the technical dossier with the local representative, even though they're responsible for vigilance. In that instance, it will be clear, but our point of contact will still be the local authorized representative, and then we can manage it. So we'll publish the approach then at that particular point in time. But our point of contact and the person that's responsible for compliance to the Act and the regulations is a local representative. Thanks.
Thank you.
And Dr. D, if I could just come in on that one. In addition, Claudia, you can list the product as part of your imported products. Remember, if you have a distribution license or manufacturing license, you are authorized to import as well. So you are welcome to submit an amendment to the authority or notification as applicable and list that product with the relevant information for us for import, and then you are authorized to then import it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues, for assisting. The next question is Chico. You may come through.
Morning. I just need to ask, can you please provide clarity in terms of applicants who are renewing their licenses? Is the retention fees due in the year of renewal? Because a few years ago, Shito in the SAHPRA Finance Unit did publish a memo stating otherwise.
Can I come in on that one? Chico, please look at the latest document that's published even by Finance. I think it's latest last year, December, if not early this year. So that is what is applicable. So please follow that document. Thanks, Una.
Thank you, Dr. Matibe. I hope you're answered. Tembile, you may come through.
Sorry, thank you. Just a quick one for Dr. D. Happy to take it offline as well, if it's possible. So basically, if one is in the process of a new application and follow the the process as stipulated, I suppose my question therefore is there any risk to the continuity of supply? Say you're doing new application, but you already have your product in the market. Is there any risk? Are there any risk, for example, for stoppages at port health? What does the company have to do to mitigate that risk? And that happy to take it offline as well.
No, I would like to answer that because that's non-compliant to the Act. The regulations for medical device was published in 2017. So
yeah,
I'm not too sure what we've just done now, but that is completely non-compliant. The communication to have a medical device establishment license was communicated in 2017, and definitely the shipment will be blocked. And we'll then share that information with our regulatory compliance to investigate, and that then they will have to include the relevant authorities towards that. That's a non-compliant. Thanks.
Okay. No, thanks to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Ona.
you, colleagues. Flucia, you may come through.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. I just wanted to ask this question. We have a copper IUS registered as medicine, which is at the moment is Schedule 4. And we wanted to know, are we able at this point to move this copper IUS as a medical device? The reason why we are asking globally, we get everything from global. We are from Germany, and they treat it as a medical device, and it's very difficult now to be compliant as a medicine with our dossiers.
Okay, can I come in? I think at the beginning, I'm not too sure if Lisa, you were here. We've indicated that we are not going to engage in company-specific questions. If you want to ask questions like that, where we will be requesting information for us to gather and confirm if your product is a medical device, if you please send an email. At this current moment in an open forum, we are not going to respond to your queries.
Okay, I'll send an email. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. I don't see any hands. We'll just take the few questions that were not answered under the Q&A. I'll start with Amarentia. Some companies that have a manufacturing license due to servicing and packaging, but because they also buy locally, they need a wholesaler license as well. Is there a way that the manufacturing license can cover this activity? Just to briefly answer this, I will refer you to the definition of a manufacturer on our regulations, and also the definition of a wholesaler, and the activities indicated on each license. I think that should clarify that question. If you have any follow-up questions, you can raise your hand. And then the next question is Mohammed, for reporting FSCA or recalls. Oh, it seems that it's answered, this one.
It's answered. Yeah.
Yes.
I think maybe we can help you quickly. Where there's one from Amy Denhood. AIMEE Denhood. It's if a product can be used in a diagnostic setting, but it's mainly used and marketed for research use in non-diagnostic lab like a microscope, will it be classified as a medical device? So this one is, please refer to a definition of a medical device. If it's used for diagnostic purposes, it's a medical device. This is in the Act. I think that one we've answered. There's a one from, other colleagues can please come into support because we are scrolling through this. The comments, if I've missed something. It seems as if we have, oh, there's one from, let's see if it's answered. Oh, it's answered. I thought it was not answered. I think we've answered all of them on the line, on the chat as well. Yes, we have answered all of them. Thanks, Une.
Thank you, Dr. D. Seeing that we were ahead of time, I don't see any further hands from colleagues. I will just move over to the closing remarks. Before we do that, if you have any further questions, our comms will gather them from the FAQ, and we will respond to them in a published document. Dr. D, you may come in with the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Unahu and the team, for arranging the engagement with our colleagues in the industry. Really appreciate that. And we hope that it has added value in the industry and given them the insight of what the regulator is doing. And as I've already indicated, there will be further engagement from the regulator regarding the various activities, as I indicated around, but we'll announce, let me not put my team under pressure, but we will be having other engagement regarding, I know there's a lot of questions regarding registration related activities. So in that meeting, then we will share, but we'll share the agenda upfront as we have done now on which items and activities or discussion point that we will discuss with you. I thought I saw a hand from Frangelina Litswalo before I close. If you may please come in.
Thanks, Dr. Matibe. One of my questions was not answered is SAHPRA regulating or monitoring devices sold online, Takealot and Amazon, etc. Because I saw other people also ask it maybe in the other way around. What is the position?
Yeah, so SAHPRA, thanks, Ms. Litswalo. SAHPRA is regulating all medical devices, and our regulatory compliance is the one that is monitoring all. They have engaged various platform to communicate with them the requirements regarding that. So if there are any questions that you want to have regarding, or you have any query or complaints to bring forward, our regulatory compliance team are supporting in that.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks. All right, thank you very much. So based on what I've just indicated, I see Ms. Litswalo, you still have, okay, thank you. Based on what we have, I have already indicated, I would like to thank again colleagues that were able to join the meeting, and I hope it was fruitful and added some value as well. But as indicated by Onaho, you're more than welcome to engage the colleagues as per the contact details that were shared. And again, thank you very much for your time, and we'll definitely communicate our next engagement. And I hope everyone has a great day ahead and have a nice weekend to everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all. Goodbye.